Live with Mrs. Larson and Dakota from Mrs. Larson's bathroom because the kids are playing video games and making too much noise. It's punctuating and formatting dialogue. Okay, time for a really quick review about the things you should be watching for when IXL is talking about punctuating dialogue. First, make sure all words are in quotation marks. All words that are spoken, obviously not all the words. We've got two sets of dialogue here, right? Are we ready? And to learn some punctuation. If we put that together, are we ready to learn some punctuation? It's just one sentence. The Dakota wondered is the tag that goes inside of it. Okay, so we have dialogue and we have tag. Dialogue must be in quotation marks. Okay, that's the first part. The next part you always want to watch for is to make sure that the beginning of the quotation is always capitalized because it's the first word of a sentence, right? The first word of the tag is often capitalized if it's a name, of course, if it's the first word of the sentence. If it's just in the middle of something like she wondered, I wouldn't capitalize she. I capitalize first words of sentence and then first word of the quotation if it's not already, like you see there, the first word of the sentence. Okay, so we've got the quotation marks around the spoken words. We have the capitalized first word of the sentence and first word of the quotation. In this case, it's the same thing. And then also be aware that sometimes they put the commas and the end punctuation in the wrong spot. Here you'll notice it's always attached to the end of a word. Okay, it's never floating out in space. Okay, that means you won't end up with this question mark out here. Can't do that. It's not attached to a word. Okay, you won't end up with the are you ready, comma, right here in front of Dakota, because then that'd be attached to the front of the word, and we don't do that either. Now, in class, we learned that there's actual reasons for this, about where we put the tag and where we put the quotation, but that's the really kind of quick, easy version. So again, check for quotations are in quotes, the first word of the sentence and the first word of the quotation are capitalized, and that any kind of commas or ending punctuation marks are actually attached to the back of a word, because that's how that kind of punctuation works. Let's jump in and give it a try. So let's check those three areas. Is it just me, Jacob whispered, or does this library seem kind of ominous at night? I see that the dialogue is in quotation marks, but I do see that they have an issue separating it, because we've got a separator here, that makes sense, but on this side of the tag right here, there's no separator. There needs to be one right there, so there should be a comma right after whispered. And check capitalization. So they capitalize, is it just me? You wouldn't capitalize the or because that's actually part of the same quotation. And then I check the end to make sure that's in the right spot too. So the big thing I would have to change is just the one that we noted where you need to have the comma right there to separate the tag from the rest of the quotation. Okay, American writer Pearl S. Buck stated, growth itself contains the germ of happiness. Now I know I have to separate the tag from the quotation, and I always attach it to the end of a word. It's kind of hard to get in there, but you see where I'm going. And we also know that we always capitalize the first word of a quotation. And then I look at the end, and I see that they stuck this period on the outside. We don't want that, so we'd actually put it right next to the happiness. If you can do that, good luck. Okay. Seriously, though, he's doing a grand job, British TV personality David Frost sarcastically remarked. Okay, let's check and see if we've separated the dialogue from the tag. That's where it is, but what do you notice? Yep, that's right. The exclamation point is in the wrong spot. It should be right after job. And that would really be it, because the first word is capitalized here. British is capitalized just because that's British. And everything else is in the right place. Don't judge me by my age, and I won't judge you by yours, the gray-haired man said with a wink. Well, I'm going to check where they're joined to the tag and the dialogue here, and that's right here. I have a floating comma. Can't have that. It should actually go right after the yours, inside the quotation marks. The gray-haired man said it with a wink. They don't have an issue here because we're just ending the sentence. I've got a capital D there. Didn't capitalize this, right? Because it's not the beginning of a sentence and not the beginning of a quotation. So that would not be capitalized, so I'd be done. As former U.S. President Herbert Hoover declared, Words without actions are the assassins of idealism. First, I'll check where the dialogue and tag connect, and that's just fine because I've got the comma attached to the end of the word, and then I've got the next part starting in quotations. I'm going to check the capitalization. I capitalized the sentence. I capitalized the first word of the quote, and I'm going to check the end. Aha! Cannot have that period there. It should go right after the M and therefore inside the quotations. I hope you can see this. I'm having a really hard time getting it in the right spot, but I hope you get it. You're fine. Okay, 2 more examples. Let's make them count. Here I've got a split quotation. On the whole, George Orwell quipped, human beings want to be good, but not too good. Okay, so I've got 2 spots where the quotation connects to the tag here and here. Now, I would never have this period right there because it's a split quotation. It belongs together. So on the whole, human beings want to be good. They're not 2 separate sentences, so I wouldn't have a period anyway. Plus, I also never use a period between the dialogue and a tag. So that's actually just going to be a comma instead of a period. Okay, here I do have the comma attached to the end of the words. That's fine. Now let's just check the capitalization. On the whole should be capitalized because it's the first word. We don't capitalize human because it's not the first word of the quotation. It's just part of a split quotation, and on is already capitalized. We capitalize the tag just because it's a name in this case. And then we want to check the end. We got a problem there, right? That period should actually be at the very right after good. Here I am trying to get the period in there. You'll have better luck than me. Okay, let's see how I can do on this very last one. If you even dream of beating me, Muhammad Ali famously said, you'd better wake up and apologize. Let's check our 3 things. First, check where the 2 join up. So this comma should be inside the quotation marks, right? Instead of where it is. This comma is just fine because it's attached to the end of said. All right, now I've got to check the capitalization. The first word of the quotation is capitalized. The tag's capitalized just because it's a name. And now let's check the end. Period's in the wrong spot again. Should be right after apologize inside the quotation marks. And remember, if you're having a hard time, you can watch the video again. You can talk to a friend. You can talk to me. You can talk to a parent. And if you're still stuck and it's just not working, you might not be quite ready. So if you're not feeling ready yet, try the suggested ones for IXL. They might bump you back a year or 2 to some easier examples so you can get your feet under you before you tackle the tough stuff. Good luck.